prayer partners. Yeah, yes, indeed, if our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying, then each and every one of you is in partnership with me in co-creating our experiences. It's kind of based on Unity's third principle, thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. Yes? And so I want to thank you for being here this morning and for co-creating with me a world where unity is the truth. So thank you for being my prayer partner. So I got a full report, as I always do when I'm out of town. I heard what people were wearing, what people said, who sat next to who. I also heard that Stephen did a fantastic job of taking us into our new series about prayer and the power of our unlimited potential that we reach through prayer. And so I'm really grateful for that. So this morning, I hope to build on that. And so if you get our e-blasts, if you're on Facebook this morning, then you know that I said I was going to talk about the Lord's Prayer. And then Kat sang, and so now I don't know what I'm going to talk about. We'll just see how that goes. Eric Butterworth, one of our Unity master teachers, and Charles Fillmore both believe that Jesus used prayer as a spiritual tool. That it was in fact a technique to help us find unity with God. And that it was a way for us to tap into our unlimited potential. And so, as I'm sure Stephen talked about with the Lord's Prayer wasn't about repeating the same words over and over again every Sunday. That it was actually a template, kind of a pattern, a way for us to pray like. Jesus gave us some very specific instructions before that about how to use prayer. And those instructions come from Matthew. Matthew 6, verses 5 through 6. And when you pray, do not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray, standing in the synagogues and on the street corners to be seen by others. Yeah, me too. Truly, I tell you, they have received their reward in full. But when you go to pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. So I was thinking about that, the whole hypocrite part. So it's easy for most of us to go. I can't think of a single instance where I stood on a street corner and said, look at me, I'm going to pray, right? Can't think of a single incident of that. But hypocrite in Greek referred to the actors that would come into town, the stage actors, the actors that would wear masks. And so as I thought about that, I asked myself a curious question. When have I been a hypocrite in prayer? So I got to kind of thinking about my prayer patterns. So I grew up with the, now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep, right? And I said that, that was probably some of the first words out of my mouth because my mother was a churchgoer. And had no idea what any of that meant except for the, if I should die before I wake. And I can remember distinctly, I would finish that prayer, and as soon as my mother would leave the room, I'd say, and please, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. about, right? As I grew into adolescence and young adulthood, I got really good at foxhole prayers. God, just please don't let that cop give me a ticket. Just don't just let him escort me home. Just have him escort me home. He doesn't have to talk to my parents. Foxhole prayers. God, I'll go to church every single Sunday. If you just don't let Mom and Dad find out. I know none of you have ever prayed those prayers. Ever, right? Those are all forms of being a hypocrite, right? We're acting without connecting. We're just acting it out. Prayers of supplication. I also, as I was thinking about this whole idea of a hypocrite, I also thought about, how many times, so I grew up Southern Baptist. Some of you know that may be new to some of you. Like, real Southern Baptist. Like, my dad was a Gideon. He went into the prisons and put the Bibles in the prisons and in the hotel rooms. My mother was the church organist. I sat on the second pew of the Southern Baptist Church for 16 years, because that's where the organist sat. And I can remember every time I'd get in a little bit of trouble, like I'd lose the keys and get taken away from me, or my parents would be sure I was going down the wrong road, they'd have the altar call. And I knew it'd be a great time for me to walk down there and confess my sins and to rededicate my life to Christ. I knew that was like the easiest, quickest way to get out of trouble at my house. So I did that pretty frequently. I'm sure that minister thought, is she ever going to quit walking down this aisle? What is it now, Glenda? What happened now? Jesus is telling us that it is not our words that matter. It's not our words that matter. It's also not our actions. Because let me tell you, when it's altar call time, I can cry a good tear. I make you think I'm so repentant. I'm so sorry, and I really am sorry. Sorry that I have to walk down that aisle. Right? It's not about our actions. It's not about our words when we pray. What Jesus is telling us is that it is about our consciousness. It is the why behind the prayer. It is about what place are we praying from? Are we praying from a place of guilt, resentment? Are we praying from a consciousness of if everything out there would just line up, my life would be perfect? If I could just get that new car, if I could just get that perfect husband, if I could just have that right bank account, if God would just give me, it'd all be good. It's the consciousness that we pray from. And it's very interesting because he says about the hypocrites, they have already received their full reward. They've already received their full reward. That means they had their moment of glory in my mind. They had their moment of attention. Me, I got out of trouble for the next 5 minutes, right? I got some relief, I got a reason to be mad at God because he didn't give me what I asked for. But I got that reward, that instant gratification. Prayed the prayer, feel better now, go on my way. But if the reward that we're seeking is something deeper, if the reward that we're seeking is a deeper connection with God, if the reward that we're seeking is a deeper understanding of the truth of who we are, we have to pray differently. We have to pray differently. We have to pray honestly. And now honestly, sometimes my prayer is in a moment of sobbing, of heartbrokenness. And the only thing that can come out of my mouth is, help, just help, right? That's an honest prayer. Help. Whatever that is. That's all that Jesus is asking of us. To pray honestly. To pray from the truth of our own divinity. To pray from the child of God that we are. To pray honestly. To pray from a consciousness of knowing that there's not some big candy store up in heaven. There's not some big buffet and we just get to, give me this and give me that and give me this. That's not what it's about. It's about tapping into everything that we need and we have. See, that's the thing. Sometimes we think we want all of that, but that's not what's going to bring us joy. That's not what's going to bring us peace. That's not going to help us stand in the power of who we are. So we want to pray honestly and from our hearts and from a consciousness that God is with us. The second set of the instructions, I turn the right side up. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. We have to shut the world out when we pray. Now, I was thinking about this because my favorite place to pray is on my kayak. Anybody that's gotten to know me over the last 2 years know that there is no better place that I'm connected to God than when my feet or my body is in water. But my favorite time to kayak is on Mondays all by myself. And I'm out on the water, there's not another single soul around. My cell phone is in my dry box, turned off. And it's just me. Me and the water and the birds and the trees and the sky and God. And God. When we pray, to make that conscious connection requires that we step away. That we step away from the distractions of the cell phone and the computer and the TV and the chatter. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. And I love that Jesus' instructions say, the Father who is unseen. We talked about this a couple of Sundays ago, about what God is. And we talked about God as principle. We want to hang a human tag on God. We want to make God like us. Well, if God's like us, that means sometimes God likes you and sometimes God doesn't. Sometimes you're going to get what you ask for and sometimes you're not. That is a capricious kind of God. And what we understand in unity is that God is more than that. That God is a principle. That God is life. That God is love. That God is beyond our human limited thinking. That is the God who is unseen. So we are praying to that force that animates us. We are praying to a force that is within us and around us. So we are praying to that which we already are and which we already have. And we're stepping into that quiet space. The verse 6 ends with, then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. Who sees in secret. So it's not secret like the telephone game secret. Right? The secret that you write in your diary. The secret is that place within us where God is. that place within us where God lives and moves and has its being. See, we're never not connected to Source, but we forget that we're never not connected to Source. We have to remind ourselves that there's no place that God is not. And so if God is everywhere present, do I need to ask for anything? Because that which is me and is around me already knows. Already knows I got a pipe hanging off my brow and I need some help getting it off. You know, that which is with us already knows before we ever whisper the words. So we're not asking God for anything. We're affirming what is already ours. We don't have to ask. It's already been given to us. It's already there. We only have to be open to receiving it. And so the asking isn't for presence, isn't for Source. The asking is for us. Because sometimes I need to be really clear about what it is that I need. Sometimes I really need to be clear about what it is that I think I'm desiring at the moment. So it's really to clear my consciousness. It doesn't have anything to do with Source, because I'm always connected. Source already knows what I need next. Source is already providing for me the experience that I need to have next. So the asking is for my benefit. Eric Butterworth writes that the purpose of prayer, then, is to affirm in our consciousness that which is true of God and of our relationship with God. To affirm in our consciousness that which is true of God. Prayer is our reminder. Prayer is for us. It's to remind me that I'm connected. It's to remind me that the universe is abundant and I already have all that I need. It is a reminder for us. So when you're praying, don't think that you're praying to something. You're not. When you're praying, you're just reminding yourself of what you already know, but you forgot. When you're praying for someone, you're not praying for them. You're affirming in your consciousness that you know it's going to be okay. You're affirming for you, the God in them. You're reminding yourself that God has the power to guide and direct. You're reminding yourself that they're just as divine as you are. You're reminding yourself in consciousness that we are always and forever connected. So I rewrote the Lord's Prayer. Because I do things like that. I don't stand on street corners and pray, but I do a lot of other things, like rewrite the Lord's Prayer. Because I was thinking about what do I need in my consciousness, and how is that prayer instructing me about what it is I need to remember. And so here is the Lord's Prayer according to Glenda. I am now conscious of the presence that expresses in every living thing, including me. I am whole and complete. I am unlimited possibility expressing in the world. I am co-creating with others heaven on earth. I claim my divine inheritance and daily manifest abundant supply. I release my limited thoughts about myself and others. I live as the presence of love. In all that I seek to be, do, or have, I acknowledge that my power comes from the presence within. And for this, I am grateful. This is the truth. And now, it is done. Namaste.
Namaste.
We are. Would someone go get the children? And I'm going to have you guys all stand so we can welcome the children into our circle. You're probably going to want your green sheets. Anyone that has ever been to a retreat has heard this song. So if you know it, sing it. If you don't know it, it won't take you long to learn it. It's called In Every One of Us. Going by doing our birthdays. I'm going to let Sue come up. Do you guys want to stand here or do you want to sit down? All right, we'll have some seats. One of the ways that we connect with one another is by celebrating birthdays and anniversaries. Does anyone have an anniversary in September? Oh, come up and let's sing to you. Let's sing all kinds of weddings in September.
Because she has that
Oh no, wait, it's underneath the button. All right, let's sing happy anniversary to them. Happy anniversary to you. Happy anniversary to you. Happy anniversary to Happy anniversary to you. God is blessing you now. God is blessing you now. God is blessing way that we acknowledge our blessings is by celebrating the abundance that flows from us and to us by giving where we are spiritually fed. On your clipboard, there are envelopes for credit card charges or cash if you'd like for us to keep a record of your giving. So you can fill those out. And I ask you to join me in blessing our gifts by saying our blessing. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, and all that I give, and all that I receive. I am joy-filled and grateful. So I want to report that we have raised over $1,000 for both Johnny Appleseed and for the Nehemiah Project for our new chair. So if you want another way to show your love and appreciation for your spiritual community, Johnny Appleseed is our big fundraiser. We sell beef and barley soup. We need people to sign up, to fill slots, and we are always appreciative of people who donate money to us to offset the cost of the equipment and the food that we need to make the soup. There are also still plenty of opportunities. We've ordered 75 chairs. We've raised enough money to pay for about 20. So we're still looking for opportunities to purchase a chair for our sanctuary upstairs. Musical equipment is also an opportunity, and lighting. We're putting new lighting upstairs. So in any way you would like to contribute to our sanctuary renovations, we are appreciating that. All right, at Unity of Fort Wayne Spiritual Center, we do the Walk of Abundance. It's an opportunity for you to walk up and place your offering in the basket and to remember all the ways that you have been blessed this week. We know that there is only one source of our abundance, and all that we have, we joyfully give, because a good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into our laps. For the measure we give will be the measure we receive. Let's walk.